artificial intelligence and robotics and redefining what human beings will be in the future. And a lot of people find this scary. I don't want to be redefined. I don't like this idea, something that's beyond my control. The very sense of self is going to be altered. Well, you're actually under a lot of control systems, and you have been since birth.
This world is plagued with false prophets, AI worshippers, and people who don't even know what to believe.
In the heart of the impassable Siberian taiga lives a group dedicated to following a man who calls himself Vissarion. Every year, on August 18th, members of this community gather on a mountain that they say is sacred to see that man who claims to be the modern Christ.
Elementary on April 8th, this fifth grader pulled out chosen material for free reading time.
Then she said, Giovanni, what book is that?
That's when he says the teacher asked him twice to put the Bible on her desk, and he refused.
And she told me to get my dad on the phone.
Here's the voicemail she left.
Good morning, Mr. Rubio, Mrs. Thomas. Giovanni called you because I asked him to. I noticed that he has a book, a religious book in the classroom. He's not permitted to read those books in my classroom.
I feel like that, but I just don't understand why the police. I don't get that. What does it mean exactly?
Well, it means that they just think they should be gender neutral, so you don't have to be in the police either male or female.
But how can that be when you are arrested, for example, for driving? You show them your driver's license, and on my driver's license it says F.
Right.
So what is it?
Well, passports, driver's license, everything will have to move gender neutral. This is the logical extension.
I mean...
This is the mass deception right amongst our eyes.
So I was talking a little bit about, mind control in particular, and something that I worked on that I'm not proud of, but it's called the voice of God weapon. So there are 4 different techniques and technologies that can pipe voices into an individual's head.
The way of the future, that's the name of this religion, will focus on, quote, the realization, acceptance, and worship of a Godhead based on artificial intelligence developed through computer hardware and software. They're going to fund
God
research.
need with a spaceship is all I can think of.
It will seek to build working relationships with AI industry leaders. Have they contacted you? You're an AI industry leader, Phil.
They haven't. Apparently, I'm not a leader enough.
And they're going to target AI professionals and laypersons who are interested in the worship of a Godhead based on AI.
And once you can do that, you can control them using neuro-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. And they used it, I believe, in the Gulf War to tell the enemy at that time, lay down your guns, this is Allah. And it worked pretty well, because hearing voices which have no direction or sound, you have to assume that it's some spiritual entity.
But a part of God's common grace are these technological advances. And this is a part of His goodness over, above, and beyond, even to creatures that have rebelled and sinned, and they're separated from Him. Now, our problem is, we look at these technological advances, and we think it's about us, that we're special, that this is to our glory, our technological advances. And so we end up then, instead of worshiping God and thanking Him for His common grace, we end up worshiping ourselves. We end up being idolatrous.
He said, if I told him to put it away, you said not to do that. So please give me a call. I need to have some understanding on direction to him about the book he's reading as opposed to the curriculum for public school. Mrs. F. Thomas, thank you and have a wonderful day.
Any parent wants to protect their child, and there comes a point in life where you have to stand up for what's right and what's wrong. And when somebody's civil rights and constitutional rights are being violated, and it happens to be your child, I'm sure any one of you would do that for someone you love.
We're already under distress and being infiltrated. So did you ever think that that wall, not just to help keep people out, but to keep people in?
1 month after Donald Trump won the presidency, he turned to billionaire builder, sometimes business partner, and longtime friend Jorge Perez for help building a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. Dubbed Miami's condo king, Perez's company has shaped skylines worldwide. In December, Perez received an email attachment with a message penned by Trump.
The handwriting was his that went with the attachments.
The email, which CNN saw under the condition it not be shown, was sent from the Trump Organization and signed by Trump.
I don't know if anybody from my tribe of atheists ever thanked you for giving us a shout out at your first inaugural, but you did mention non-believers. I think it was
more than once.
More than once.
I mean, it's not just in that speech. I've done it often.
Well, we appreciate it. Because we do feel like untouchables to a degree. I mean, I don't know if you saw the latest religion survey, but almost a quarter of the country are nuns. I don't mean the ones who hit me on the knuckles with a ruler in Sunday school. I mean, they put none for religion.
None of the above.
Right.
Well, a massive 10 Commandments monument that has been outside a Pennsylvania public school for 60 years is now being removed.
The reason, one complaint from an atheist mother who filed a federal lawsuit.
The 10 Commandments is getting the heave-ho from a high school near Pittsburgh. The New Kensington Arnold School District has 30 days to remove the giant monument from the front lawn of Valley High School. It's all part of the settlement in a federal lawsuit filed by an aggrieved atheist.
It makes me sad that someone would do something like that.
Question related to the first one. If all human beings are created to enjoy fellowship with God, why God, in his omniscience, created those beings who that he knew would reject him and thereby be condemned to eternal separation from him?
When a teacher goes to the length of calling the student to the front of the class and calling his parents while the students look on and leaving this voicemail that says, hey, look, you can't read religious books in my classroom, that is a gross violation of the First Amendment, the Constitution.
I want the school to send me an apology and let me read my Bible during free reading time.
This is the problem of religious pluralism and religious diversity. Were you here last night? Okay, remember the last point on the outline raised this problem. This is also the last chapter in On Guard. And what I suggest there is two things. Number one, it may not be feasible for God to create a world in which everyone freely embraces salvation and comes to him. It's logically impossible to make people do something freely. So it may sadly be the case that in any world of free creatures, there will always be some who will freely reject God in his every effort to save them. But I take seriously the scriptures that say God wants all persons to be saved and come to a knowledge of the truth. That God...
These images resemble the ones in the email.
Inside the email was the wall. The 2,000-mile, 30-foot wall with some sketches. And he said, would love to get you involved in this. Please give me a call.
A patrol road would separate the wall from a secondary barrier.
I mean, we have a load of things going on. We have terrorism. We have, people being hacked. We have, the NHS going down. And there's much more important things going on than this. I'm sorry to offend all the gender neutral.
Well, when you saw the MTV Awards now removing Best Actress, for example, you are a great actress. Would you like the Oscars to be gender neutral?
No, absolutely not.
Another email attachment, a map showing the wall extending from California to West Texas. Though the images he received are unlikely the final plan, it's a look at Trump's early vision for the wall.
See that ceiling?
That ceiling is much lower than my wall.
Trump has spoken in general terms about the wall, and the few details we have heard have changed, including that 2,000-mile length.
They must turn and accept the true and living God. They must do it before it all comes crashing down.
But what if it was possible to clone Jesus Christ, to bring him back using modern science? Would this be the second coming of Christ?